What's up, Buck fans? You are looking at the aftermath on 102.9, the game Broad Street South Radio. I'm going to break down that pitiful loss against the Bucks and the Bills and the future state of the Bucks. So stay tuned, y'all. And just like that, that's exactly how I feel when my children are going to say, Dad, what were the 2020 Bucks like? And what were the Bucks like under Arians? That's the exact emotion I'm going to give. So what's up again, everybody? It's AJ Turn up here with another episode of the Aftermath on 102.9, the game Broad Street South Radio. My co-host, Slick, a.k.a. the British guy who's always fly, and that's on standby. He'll be joining us momentarily. But further ado, your Buccaneers blew it again. As people would say, they screwed the pooch. They bit the big one. They shit the bed. They fucked up. It's just now they 3-game losing streak right now. Shit is not looking good for the Buccaneers. And I'm sure a lot of Buc fans are real pissed off, as you should be. And we're going to get there first. We're going to explain why we're pissed off. But first, I'm just going to break a few things down. And stay with me, Buc fans. Stay with me. I know it might sound like I'm going to be rambling, but I'm going to break things down, and you'll see my point when I get to it. So I'm going to start with this. The average NFL salary. Now, I got this off of en.as.com and also indeed.com. So are you aware the median wage is $860,000? So this is where I got the sources from. If anybody else can tell me otherwise, please correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I saw on these websites, $860,000. First-year rookies typically get $435,000, and that's from Indeed.com. Now, look at it this way. Your NFL offensive coordinator typically will average $1 million, depending on their contract. And Todd Bowles is getting paid $3 million a year. Now, let's go over to now. This is for all the players. Now let's go to the everyday working people like you, me, everybody else out there who are fans of the game. Now I got this from Forbes.com. The annual from ages 20 to 24 is typically $38,324. Hourly, that's $18.43. Ages 25 through 34, that's $52,936. Hourly, that's $25.45. Then we go to ages 35 to 44. That is $63,596. Then if you go to the hourly wage, that is $30.58. Now, I'm sure you guys are just wondering, what does that have to do with the Bucks and Bills game? It has a lot to do with it. It's telling me that these guys, these coaches and some of the players on the team, which I will be calling out soon, you got to understand, you're going to get criticized. And also, when you're getting paid this kind of money that can change people's life on your sign-in bonuses alone, and you come out half-assing or not doing your duty at the highest level, may I add, mind you, you don't deserve to be there anymore. You don't deserve it. And you should have a short leash. You're damn right you should have a short leash. I think a lot of people saying it's not how it works. It really should be. Because I guarantee you, the performances that we've seen the last 3 games, if I was doing that shit on my job, or if you were, you'd be fired. You would be replaceable just like that. And that's how the league needs to be sometimes. And I understand that the league, it takes time for coaches and systems to work, but damn it, not with the Coach Bowles. Your defense is fine. Your defense is good, but you are hindering them. You are handicapping this defense that has the potential to be elite because of your stubbornness and your cowardly act of just playing hard-ass football and taking risk, the real risk. So we're going to start on the defensive side because, again, you blew it. You failed. Again, cushion coverage doesn't work, Bowles. I don't know how many times you need to understand that. That is not going to work. If it was amazing how each time the Bills they set up in spreads for a lot of the times they were just open. That zone coverage was garbage. Josh Allen had his way. It seemed like every receiver was wide open, but that's because you already know this team, the secondary is not mostly built on zone coverages or cushion coverage. You have physical corners in Carlton Davis. You have a guy in Dean who could do both, but still, I would say he's better at being physical. Izien is better at being a physical corner, in my opinion, because he's doing a hell of a job. That will help your pass rush. I told you this already, guys, on the Bucs pregame that we don't have an elite pass rusher yet. Shaq Barrett is our solid guy. He's good, but he's not great. But he's not terrible either. So I want to give a shout out to Shaq Barrett. He's a solid pass rusher. Elite, no. Now you could say he had an elite level in 2019, but right now this Bucs defense is being handicapped. We're not out here to say that they're weak. I want to remind you of that. They're not weak. Their coach, commander in chief, is being weak. I don't know what the hell is going on with him or what it takes him to understand that this Bucs team is built on being physical. When you let a team like a struggling team like the Bills at first march down on you through the entire first series, that showed me all I needed to know. It wasn't enough blitzing. It wasn't a lot. And I'll tell you this, a lot of these players on this team owe Antoine Winfield an apology. He is balling his ass off. They owe Levante David an apology. He's balling his ass off. Now, one guy we need to just say, yo, you need to go home. He should be fired. He shouldn't play because he can't play to that level. I can play better. And I say that damn right I said it. I can play better than this guy. And this guy is Ryan sorry-ass Neal. So let me tell you guys, he earns a base salary of $1,080,000, and he gets a roster bonus of $152,000. So again, his roster bonus alone, he's robbing the Buccaneers. He sucks. He's trash. He's always running and trying to catch up to somebody. This is just, he is terrible. And we're going to get on here, but before I get on my little more of my rant, we got a special guest that we're going to bring in here. We got our buddy Rick Hughes from Bucs Live, and I'm glad that we're going to bring him on because, as you guys know, I'm already fired up, and we haven't even got to our guy Baker, so I would love to hear his take, but let's bring him on right now. Good evening, Rick. How you doing, sir?
Good, brother. How are you?
Not good, too, really. I'm very disappointed. This was not what I expected. Both sides of the as a team, we're bad. We are officially a bad team.
Really? It's not what you expected?
Not what I expected. The reason why I say that, I would have hoped that this team learned from their mistakes. But as of right now, it's almost like last year again. The coaching is getting in the way of these players' success. The coaching is hindering this defense. We just talked about it a few weeks ago. A lot of people were saying the defense. I said it. I just want the defense to be dominant.
Yeah.
They were not dominant yesterday. They were getting shredded, but at the end of the day, that was on Bowles. Those players are just doing what they were told.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I was enjoying everything you were saying because I was pretty much in agreement. I mean, the only thing I will say is it's kind of what I expected on Thursday night. There weren't going to be any changes. There wasn't going to be anything radically different. Look, positives. Can we please stop saying Rachaad White can't play? Can people stop saying that? The dude balled out too. Okay. I mean, 70 yards receiving, 4.7 yards per carry or something like that. He had a good game. You and I talked about this. please start throwing in the flat. And they did it, and it paid off. Look, let me give you a cut to the chase kind of a thing. Last week on 4th and 6, and on the first possession of the game, Todd Bowles chooses to go for it. This week, on fourth down, you can try and kick a 59-yard field goal. Your kicker had just kicked a 57-yarder, and it cleared it by a bit. You're down by 6. You punt. What the hell?
Yeah.
Look, my issue is that this team, most of the time, you usually look at a team and say they're an aggressive team. They're not an aggressive team. They're this, they're that. There's a character to the team. This team does not have a character. It doesn't have a personality because, well, this week on the first drive, we're going to go for it on 4th and 6. Next week, in a critical situation, we're not even going to try and kick a field goal. We just did the drive before, but now we're not gonna. Which I can't look. This is how this makes no sense. Let's say you miss the field goal, right? You miss the field goal. You're still counting on stopping them one drive or maybe 2. One first down, maybe 2. That's all they can get.
That's all they can.
So whether you miss the field goal or not, it's freaking irrelevant. Okay? You go for it. If you make it, you're only 3 points down. Think about that last drive. If all you had to do is get in field goal position.
Did y'all hear that? Think about that. That's 3 points that could have come back and helped this Bucs team. But this is what I'm saying, guys. This is what I'm telling you, Rick. I don't believe in Bowles. I've lost a lot. I was already doubting him, and I tried to give him hope because he was able to pick his coordinator. He got his staff. But at this point, as you said, his commanding presence does not impress me. He's a contradicting person. He tries to say one thing, but we know the truth. We know what's going on behind the situation. Because today, I was pissed off that he did not call out Ryan. Ryan Neal is a bum. Ryan Neal should not be a safety in the damn league.
What was he talking about when he said, and I'm asking because I'm going to be honest with you, I had to work today. I don't really know. I know he said basically it wasn't Ryan Neal's fault. We know what it was. We'll fix it. Okay. Maybe it wasn't. Let's say it wasn't. Let's say I'm not sure how, but let's say he was expecting help. Let's say whatever. You've got to be more specific than just it wasn't his fault. It feels like an excuse. It feels like you're covering for your guy.
Oh, big time excuse. Big time excuse. And this is the issue that I had under this regime. Nobody is being held accountable for their bullshit. As you said, I would have called complete bullshit. See, the thing is, that's the only thing that I know for me personally that I cannot stand about when you're a journalist, you have to almost, be a pacifier and stroke their ego a little bit. Hey guys, no, for me, I would have been like, excuse me, Coach Bowles, what was Ryan Neal thinking? Can we bring him to the podium and ask him?
You would have only had, the problem with that is that's great if you only want 1 week in that room.
Exactly.
Because he won't call on you next week. You won't get a shot anymore. Yeah, that's why they have to be that way.
Exactly. And that's why we are here, because we are here to take away the bureaucratic bullshit, and we're going to tell you how it is. Bowles, I'm telling you, Ryan Neal should be benched. They need to bring Delaney in. You cannot do any worse, because when people say that, well, if he's in, that can only mean that the other people are worse. That is not always true. That can just mean that the coach isn't as good as evaluating the talent that he should, because when Delaney is in there, it's nothing bad that's happening. But every time we see Ryan Neal, he is running behind somebody. That touchdown, was awful. Like, what are you doing? You let a rookie tight end burn you, and he takes terrible angles. He is not, and people forget. They thought, well, when we got him from Seattle, he was he was sitting on the bench. He was not the star guy. He's people think when we get someone from the Seahawks that we're getting the remnants of the Legion of Boom. We're not. That damn team has been over for years now.
Yeah.
Get that out of your head, guys. Get it out of there. That the Legion of Boom has been done.
Yeah.
But this is why I brought up this money thing earlier, Rick. You're getting paid all of this damn money, and this is what you come up with. This is why I feel like I get a little more upset, because now you're basically telling me is this the best that you can do? Then what? Why the hell am I not in there? Why the hell I would do that? The media wage for a NFL guy is 860. I'll do that shit for 120. I just want to I just want the opportunity. You mean to tell me you cannot find more effort in that? This is where it comes in. Like you said, when they asked him that question, I'm like, wait a minute. Aaron's would have called it out. Aaron would have said, yeah, Neil messed up. Neil screwed up. That was terrible. And what coverage are you talking about, Bowles? He was right there. It's football 101. Even if the coverage was busted, you still should be able to be in the right position to make the tackle. Ryan Neal is a liability, and defenses know it. That if you look at it, Josh Allen literally was throwing in that area all the time. The defense, every time the defense, Buck fans, we've seen this. Cushion coverage doesn't work. We don't have the pass rush to get there unless we find a miracle and Yaya and JTS and Shaq Bear all become all pro pass rushers. Zone does not work. You want to buy time with the receivers and mess up their routes. You saw the game, Rick. Didn't the Bills just look like they made every pass look so easy?
Yeah, well, they even said it on the broadcast. They kept saying the Bills are making it look easy. I don't understand what happened to the style Bowles is calling. And let me say this: he's a great defensive coordinator. So I do want to give him a little bit of props here. I want to say this: the dude's good at. He's a great defensive coordinator, but he's not calling what he's always called. He's not doing what he's always done. He's doing something different. He's playing it differently. I don't get it. Now, listen, the Buccaneers have the top red zone defense in the NFL, but you can't let the other team get to the red zone every drive. And this is my problem. It's like, every drive, the team just moves right down. Yep. Now, at the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, they did not. And again, this is the part that I think pisses me off so much is
it's okay.
On one drive in the fourth quarter, you kick a 57-yard field goal. You're now down by 6. Right?
Right.
Or they ended up down by 6 because they kicked a 57-yard field goal and then scored a touchdown. Okay. So just a few minutes later, same side of the field. Everything is the same. You're down by 6. You have the chance. You know that it's fourth down. 4th and 3, you're saying, I don't think we should go for it. I don't feel confident in going for it. With, by the way, 2.5 minutes left in the game. You say, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this. Let's punt. Not kick a field goal, because if you punt, you're going to have to go down and get a touchdown. If you try the field goal and miss, you're going to have to go down the field and get a touchdown. Same thing as a freaking punt. There's no difference. Okay, there is no difference. Yep. If they go for the field goal and miss it, go for the field goal and make it, all the difference.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
You make that field goal, fine. You don't make that field goal, it's the same as a punt because you have to stop them. Use your timeouts to stop the clock, get the ball back, and if you made that field goal, now you only need to get into field goal position. And where's field goal position? They're 42 because you just made
a 57-yard
59-yard field goal.
Okay.
Where did the Bucs end up? About 15 yards away from that. Okay, 10 or 15 yards away from that. But they were aiming on those last passes for the end zone, right? They were aiming. They were in that position. What if you had the whole field in front of you? All you had to do was get into field goal position, clock it, and you're done. Get in the field goal position, run out of bounds. Not have to try to get to the touchdown, especially when it took you 7.5 minutes on the previous drive when you're pressed for time. Does Dave Canales have no 2-minute offense? Does he not understand the concept of having to score now?
I think you're right. And I think, again, Canales, my percentage of confidence in him has dropped down to 20%. And I say this because he has no balls. Yeah, he doesn't have the balls, and he doesn't have the courage to go out there. You play the players, not the scheme. Canales showed me I'm more scared of the Bills than I have confidence in Mike Evans. He basically said Josh Norman, who hasn't been relevant since 2015, scares me more than Chris Godwin. And you are right. I didn't see crossing routes. I told you, I love my crossing routes. If you look at it, that's what all the Bills were doing, was killing us with those. And you're right. Where is the urgency? I didn't see urgency. Like you said, they were just walking down the field and just trying to get plays going. Hell no. Get these passes off. And one thing that people have got to understand, Baker is not necessarily your pocket thrower. Get him on the move. Get him on the go. Get him on the go.
Thank you.
I don't understand with Canales. I did not see enough play actions, rollouts. This guy is a horizontal passer.
I know he doesn't roll out. I don't understand why he doesn't roll out.
And look, it's not like he doesn't have the line that can help him. They designed this line to protect Brady, so they're going to be able to protect Baker. So what the hell are they doing trying to make him always stand in the pocket? Guys, if you know this, Buck fans, people know this. He's a short guy. Nothing against him, but that's why a lot of those passes look forced and they get batted because he's so short. He's not Brady, guys. And again, Baker needs rhythm, an offensive rhythm. This isn't Brady, guys. Them days are over where Brady can be one drive, he can be terrible, and then the next drive he comes out and be a precision. That is not Baker. That's why I always say they're crossing routes, Rick, because at least when he's on the move, with guys like Palmer, with guys like Tompkins, Godwin or Evans, he can make things happen. Baker is the kind of guy where he's a better passer when he passes to the receiver in stride. That is his bread and butter. That's what makes him special. They were not doing that. Canales was just pitiful. And when he did try to call the run plays, it wasn't fooling anybody. Now, I'm not here to say that Rachaad White, I still think Rachaad White is a second string back, but he was very resourceful in the passing game.
You and I agree on almost everything.
Yes.
This we disagree on.
Yes.
This we disagree on.
Yeah.
Because I think Rachaad White beat out Lenny last year. Rachaad White you saw what he did last night when they finally threw it to him when they finally gave him a little bit of space. I don't care who you put back there. You put any running back behind a crap offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you've got when it comes to running.
I beg to differ, though. Did you see Edmonds when he blew up through that line when we were on the back? It's like this. Edmonds didn't get – sometimes as a running back, you can't think. You got to react. And that's what he did. When he blew that line up, that's what I was happy about. But you are right, though. I think a lot of people, but Baker is on his last legs, and this is why I say this, Rick. And guys, we got our co-host in here, Coach
There we
Slick,
go.
aka the British guys always fly. How you doing, Slick?
Running late, but we're all good, baby. We're all good.
No problem. We're still just Brandon. I'm talking about how pissed off I am. And just we're talking about the offense, and we'll get back to the defense in a moment. But
you said Chase Edmonds blowing it up. 3 carries for 5 yards. What did I miss with Chase
I'm talking
Edmonds?
about the running back. I'm talking about the way that he when he ran in there, he got us out of danger. Rashad White is good.
He ran for 5 yards. When
Hey.
did he get us out of danger?
When we were in the backfield, was that him that got got us out of the backfield?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. They should have been using him more. And I'll say this: Rashad White should have been able to do something because, as we know, the Bills were not good against the run. But
17th, they're middle of the pack.
Yeah, they're middle of the pack. But and another thing that Canales did not, for the love of God, did not take advantage of. The damn middle was open every time against the Bills. I was screaming out of my mind at first. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God. If all Otten has to do is run a damn seam or do a slant in the middle, and it's a wrap. They
call it a crossing route. Go ahead.
Yes, the crossing routes would have killed them. If you look at it, every time, where did they attack? They tried to go up. They tried to attack the middle to make Baker run outside, but also if he throws it, it's going to get batted. Again, there was not enough play action. But hold on. This is a full house tonight because we're going to bring one of our other guests in the house, JT Olson. How you doing, JT?
I'm doing all right. Watching a team that isn't letting me down tonight in the Pistons. So nice change.
No, I hear you, man. We're just talking about the offense right now. We're saying that Canales, and I'm saying in my personal opinion, I don't have faith in Canales anymore. I think he's in over his head. I think that he is trying too hard to play a scheme when great coaches play the players. A scheme doesn't mean a damn thing. For me, it's like I don't care. You could have the perfect scheme. Would you want Gronkowski? No, okay, better yet, would you want a tight end that runs like a 4.82 to try to do a go route, or if he's better suited as a blocker, you want him to block. You have to put your players in the right positions. Canales has failed to do that, and at this point, he is, because of his calls, he's also affecting Baker because they're making Baker trying to throw through the middle when I think he's a better rollout guy. Attack the field horizontal. They're not doing that. And you could tell just the rhythm. Even Gedeke, as much as I still owe you an apology about him, Gedeke had a bad night when it came to certain penalties. So what was your take on let's just go to the offensive side since we're on that now. What was your take on the coaching and the players on yesterday's debacle?
My take on Baker Mayfield was my most negative takeaway from the offense. He just looked like he had happy feet in this game. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket. And I agree. I think rolling him out, getting him out of the pocket will help that, going sideline to sideline as opposed to vertical. I think that's kind of his strength, his skill set. But he just looked uncomfortable all night against a Bills team that wasn't getting a ton of pressure. I feel like he ran into pressure when there was pressure. And then with Canales, I didn't hate his game as much as I had the last 2 weeks. It just felt like with the Bills special teams backing the Bucs up inside their 5, he was just calling that scared. You don't want to run into a brick wall. You don't want to try and do something to the outside and get tackled for a loss in the end zone. I think that was just an inexperienced thing for him and a little bit of a, playing it safe kind of thing. Because we started inside the 5, 3 drives? That whole third quarter, it felt like we were in our own 10-yard line. And I think that was just a little bit conservative from Canales. And I think that kind of derailed the offense. So I tip my hat to Bill's special teams for putting us in a bad situation and Canales just not having the experience to deal with it.
Can I ask Coach and JT, can I ask the two of you guys something? There's something I don't understand that's schizophrenic to me about what's happening with this team that I don't understand. And I think this is the thing that bothers me more than anything about all of what we've seen. This to me is the key of the problem. In 1 week, 4th and 6, first drive of the game. We're going for it. The next week, you kick a 57-yard field goal on one drive. A couple of drives later, you're afraid to kick a 59-yard field goal. When literally, if you miss it, it's the exact same result as a punt. I don't understand it's weird. It's flip-floppy. How the decisions are made, I don't understand. I mean, it feels like usually you use a certain chain of logic that everybody does. That's how you navigate life. I don't know how this is happening here. I don't see it. It's just like, to me, it's like flip a coin. What are we going to do this time? I mean, I don't understand. There's no character that this team has about being aggressive or not being aggressive or being the kind of team that's going to try to kick a 50-plus yard field goal. And then what we got Chase McLaughlin for was that exact moment. The thing that I told AJ, if we tried that 59-yard field goal, if we miss it, it's the exact same thing as a punt. You have to stop them anyway.
But you're backed up. You've got a lot more real estate to work with.
It doesn't matter.
Right, when you've only got to drive 45, you've only got to drive 60 yards opposed to like the full 80 yards you may have to drive
for a touchdown. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
But you've got to stop them anyway, and then
I'm not arguing against you. I'm just looking at the logic of why you wouldn't do that because of that reason. I'd have gone for the kick personally.
Right, but they're going to punt anyway. They're going to punt anyway after they get the ball. They're going to punt it back. Okay, now you've got to get a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But if you kicked that field goal, imagine the last drive. If you just need to get into field goal position.
I kind of think it was, I'll say it nicely and say conservative from Todd Bowles, because points before the half are a big deal, especially with the Bills getting the ball back. I think he was just afraid that if they missed the kick, the Bills would be at the 45 and they only need, a handful of yards to get in the field goal.
I'm talking in the fourth quarter.
Oh, not the one before halftime, the 59-yarder?
No, the 59-yarder in the fourth quarter that they punted instead. Isn't that what happened in the fourth quarter?
I thought that one was...
No, that was before the end of the second half.
No, I thought that... How far were they when we punted to them?
Oh, no, we
were... In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, I think we were at our 30 because we damn near, like JT said...
And everything I said... Forget it, because this is what had me so frustrated and confused.
No, I get what you're saying, Rick. This reminded me sort of the game last year in Cleveland where he took the ball out of Brady's hands and just played it safe. This is why I'm not sure, JT and everybody else. I've said this already. Bowles' days are numbered. If I am Bowles right now in the Glazers, he should not feel safe tonight. He should really understand. You are still on the hot seat, my man. You are still being evaluated because we all said if his defense can stay top tier, that's a whole different story. But now your defense is getting compromised eventually because now they're breaking. Everybody knows how to break you down. They know, yes, he's nice in the red zone, but even then we can take them apart because you got sorry-ass Ryan Neal back there. You got loafing-ass Devin White back there, which, to me, he had a very awful game as well. Devin White was not trying to make tackles. When Josh Allen ran in for that touchdown and Devin was there, I was disappointed and ashamed. So, in my opinion, at this point with Devin, he can kiss $100 million goodbye. Hell, he can kiss $50 million goodbye. His ass would get $35, $40 million and call it a day.
But if we get rid of Bowles, then you get rid of Canales, and you're getting rid of Devin White, right? You're just pull the.
You're probably not going to get Levante David back.
Right. Just pull the pin on the thing. Then I mean, just blow the whole thing up. Keep Winfield, Wirfs, and Vita Vea, and just start from scratch. Then at that point, start trading your players and trading down. I mean,
at this point, why wouldn't? At this point, I'll tell you this. The season isn't shot, but we're
3-4. We could be a half game or whatever it is out of the lead of the division. I mean,
Yeah, it's not over, but the promises, it doesn't look promising because the guys, Baker Mayfield just said this before the game. We're not a run first team, but you damn sure well, Canales didn't do his diligence. As you said, JT, you can't be scared. And sometimes common sense can be your greatest asset because what do people like to do when you are backed up in your own line? They like to rush and release the hounds. And that always leaves that one person open. And typically it leaves one side of the field open. And usually it's that middle. Because when they'll try to blow up the middle. That's what I'm saying. Canales did not see that. I tell you this again, guys. Go back and watch the game. Literally, all they had to do was crossing routes 40% of the time. The Bills wouldn't have stood a chance because they would have eventually got tired, and then that is when the run game could have been more effective. I'm saying this because if you guys go back, every time they blew the middle up, and Baker, like you said, JC, he ran in 2 sacks. That was because the receivers were all over the place. Everybody, it just seemed like the routes were just out of just spontaneous. This is how I would have done it. Palmer, you got the 4.3 speed. Your ass is going through. You're going crossing route. Otten, I want you to go up the middle. You're going to run some seams. Rashad White, we're going to throw to the flats. Or you're going to go be the check down in the middle of the field just in case.
Baker was hitting these guys. Baker was hitting them in the hands and they were dropping the ball.
Some. But at the same time, as you said, JT said it, he had happy feet. Baker was not himself. But I also put it to the simple fact that the coaching was not helping him either. He has to get in a rhythm. But as of this point right now, Baker, he should also understand this is your last shot. I have to get that sense of urgency from him too, because let's be real, guys. How many of you guys in the back of your minds, in the base of your soul was like, all right, it's the 4th quarter. It's not looking promising. Trask, you're up. What do you think? Anybody? Let's start with Slick. Did you ever have that thought? Did it hit your mind one time and then you was like, nah? Or JT, what do you think?
I don't know if I'll ever be to a point where I want to.
People aren't catching balls; they're not catching balls. There's not much you can do about it. If your run game's not working, you're just going to have the hounds on you all the time. Eventually, you know, people crack. So I'm not. At the end of the day, he got himself 2 touchdowns. He drove the ball a couple of times. They were backed up a lot of the times, as mentioned. It's never easy for a quarterback in that area because you've got to be mindful of potentially stepping out and giving up a safety. So there's a lot more things on your mind. So I don't actually hate how he played. I just hate the whole the whole of the offensive game.
Yeah.
If you put it all together. So I was never thinking about Trask, if I'm honest.
Okay, cool. JT?
No, never.
Really?
I'm thinking about JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix before I'm thinking about Kyle Trask.
Exactly. Could we just stop with Kyle Trask? I mean, listen, especially if you're wanting to get rid of Bowles, I promise you, if Bowles is gone, just stop thinking about Trask, okay? Just stop, because they're going to blow the whole thing up, bring somebody new in, start the whole thing over. I mean, the Trask day is not coming. Unless Baker gets hurt, it's not coming.
I agree with what you guys are saying. I'm just throwing that out there because I saw a lot of people in the chats and Twitter. I'm just like, okay, guys. And look, this is...
But that's the knee jerk, isn't it?
It's a knee jerk, but it's a frustrating thing because I told people you got to reflect and not react. I was reflecting. I'm looking at the game. Yes, was Baker playing a little too jumpy for me? Yes. But he still was getting things done, but he was only doing what the play calls designed for him. And that's where Canales, as JT said, you have got to evolve, man. Like, you have 8 weeks. And this is why, guys, before JT and you guys got on, look, man, JT, if you had to say, what do you think the average salary for a coordinator would be?
$2 million. I don't really have an idea.
Oh, it's cool. The average is typically
$800,000.
It's around $1 million.
Okay.
That's that's like your bottom of the line low life guy. So yeah, for all
not a coordinator, but you're talking a position coach.
No, coordinator, offensive coordinator, $1 million. Typically $1 million. Bowles is getting paid $3 million. The median wage for NFL players is $860,000. Rookies get $435. And I got this all from Indeed.com, NEN. And then your average American person here, Slick, ages 20 to 24, 38,000, 25 to 34, 52,000, and 35 to 44, 63,000. There's the handsome man right there. Okay. So basically, I bring those stats up because when I see people like Ryan Neal playing like shit, when I see people like Devin White playing like shit, when I see the lack of effort, that insults me because, like I said, you guys, for someone who loves the game and has played it before and would give anything, even to this day, to have that opportunity, you come out there and perform like that. Any of us do that on our regular day jobs, you're fired typically. And that's what you do. So you're basically robbing. You're not an NFL player. You're a robber. You're a thief because you're stealing from this team. Guys, we need to.
I'll tell you what. No wonder they're holding on to Coach Bowles if he's being paid $3 million. That's nothing to what people like Bill Belichick get, which is close to $13 million or something like that.
What is Canales making?
Probably about $1 million a quarter. Probably about $1 million a quarter.
Yeah.
So he's making more than average. First time
coordinator. I don't know his exact salary.
Yeah, I think they said when I looked it up, it's the average is like $1 million, but he might get a little more than that. But guys,
he's be on $800,000 or something like that.
Right, but guys, like I'm saying, you get what I'm saying though. Like for me, it's the disrespect when some of these players come out there and perform like that, and then they will have the nerve to get upset when you criticize them. Hell no, you get paid way too much money. Your signing bonus is taking care of your average everyday worker in America, like for a good while of their life, and this is what you do. I was about to say something.
Yeah, there's so many jokes. I hear you.
But Ryan Neal should be canceled, guys. Can we all agree on that? I'm getting a petition. We're canceling Ryan Neal. He needs to be locked out of the stadium. He needs to be locked out of $1.
Put the heel to Neal.
Put the heel to Neal. Ooh, I like that. Put the heel to Neal. Yes, because all he do is steal. I'm just saying.
But we like him to steal the ball, but he don't do that. He tends to just watch people running for touchdowns.
JT, what is your thoughts on Ryan Neal? Should he be canceled or not?
Yeah, I think if not completely benched, because he still has some value as a box safety, you got to get D. Delaney in there on those passing situations and at least a 50-50 split at minimum. And he should be the primary starter.
I like D. Delaney. I think he's got a good, and I think he has done it before for us. And he can play multiple different positions. He can play the nickel spot. He can play anywhere. Maybe he's not the greatest in the world at doing so, but let's give a person a shot. And this is something I wanted to get off my chest because I didn't get a chance to talk about it because obviously AJ started a bit early and I was late to get into work, which means I'm late finishing. I feel that Coach Bowles has found himself the perfect offensive coordinator who doesn't going to take. He's going to be the. We used to run a no risk it no biscuit. We now run a bend but don't break defense, and we run the equivalent of a bend but don't break offense. So we run a no frills, no spills offense. It is just designed to take what the defense will give you, and if the defense is giving you nothing, that's okay because our defense is going to hold out. That is the fucking plan. And it ain't fucking working because people realize eventually it will crack. This team is not built to win from behind. It's built to win with a lead.
Exactly.
As soon as you go down by 10 points, you need to be super aggressive because this team at the moment, the way it's built, is not designed to go and crack 14 points.
They don't have a higher gear. There isn't one. They can't kick into gear. They don't. We
saw last night that once there was 14 points on the board, and we're 14 points drift. Notice how Coach Bowles started to play more aggressive. Faces played corners played further down. There's a lot more press going on. There was a little bit more action, a bit more going on. There was a bit more, I would say, not urgency, but a bit more aggression going on with the plays. But it was too little, too late. And it's passive. until we have to be aggressive. The problem is, once you've given up 14 points, our offense isn't designed. Our offense can barely get fucking 20. They're not going to get 14 to catch up and then win you the game. They're not built for it.
I'm built for it. Amen. Damn it, I wish we had a sound effect because Slick just put it down the way it was. Damn right. He just basically broke the shit down the way that it was supposed to be done. Exactly. You said it. I think people we forget. Bowles is stuck in 2020 to 22, basically. Brady is gone. Gronk is gone. Jensen is gone. AB is gone. Yeah, you don't have that offense. And again, I told you this. Bowles has the mindset where he could have that under Aaron's where it's like, hey, if your defense fucks up, I got you guys because we can match the energy and we can win a shootout with these guys. You can't do that today in this with the guys we have. Bowles, be fucking aggressive early. If Bowles did what he did, like you said, in the fourth quarter, in the first and second quarter, this could have been a completely different game. Allen only did what the Bucs defense gave him. He wasn't like shifted, and a lot of people low-key do not want to admit this, but Carlton Davis still played a solid game when he played man. Yeah. Stephon Diggs didn't run all over us like I told people that. Stephon wasn't the problem. Every time that they were open, it was because of a zone busted coverage. Like you said, like it was just we are bending to break now. That is why. And yes, Ben,
that was my note. My note was Ben, but don't break, but broke.
Exactly. Yeah. And Ben is right. I said that, you know what, Ben? I said that Devin would have a big year because I thought, hell, again, this is where I go with the money. Motherfucker, if you want to play for 100, if you want 100 million, you better play to that level. And this is where Rick
got something for Rick as well. I mean, Rick's been saying something that has been permeating with me quite often. So I did a bit of research and there's a couple of things. Every single person that was drafted to the Buccaneers was written down in their draft stock as a good run blocker. However, this is the common denominator. They're all playing a new position. So we have a center that was a tackle in college. So that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a great run blocking center. It just means that he was a good run blocking give to Notre Dame tackle. Okay. The two other guys that we got on the line, we got Cody Mock, was a tackle, now shifting inside. So there's no guarantee that thing. So what we're seeing is guys who were good run blockers in their original positions aren't necessarily a good run blocker in their current position. So I just thought I'd look it up. I got my details here. I got my little yellow slip that I had about a couple of minutes at work. And I got, Cody Mock, starting guard, was a tackle, zone-based, would work perfectly in a zone-based run scheme. Obviously not. This is one I like. Luke Gecky, rancorous run blocker. That's a nice word. I didn't know they were getting some phonetic. They were getting their phonetics out there. Was a tackle, not in a particularly big school. Robert Hainsey, a good run blocker, was a tackle, Notre Dame. Matt Filer has been a run blocker, but he's had Pouncey next to him in the Steelers when he blocked.
But aren't they saying this? Most of when you're looking at a college scouting report, first of all, nobody runs. Nobody runs, and then second of all, everybody who gets drafted in their college scouting report is going to say you could run block, and pass block, or you're not going to get drafted for the most part. I mean, it's never going to say, Cody Mock sucks at blocking for the run, but he's so good at the pass to draft him.
You'd be surprised. Some of them do. Some of them do.
Really?
Yeah, they do. There's plenty.
I mean, I imagine like a.
You've got to remember, we're talking about the guys who are like drafted in your second day. Yeah, so they're going to have more goods than bad. Yeah, it's going to be more developmental areas. Right. But a lot of them talked about the run being their strength or one of their strengths. But that doesn't necessarily mean it translates into the game. And also, they're playing out into a new position. That doesn't. The blocking scheme for a tackle is completely different to a blocking scheme for. And as I said, with Matt Filer, he had Pouncey next to him while he was at the Steelers. That's a big anchor to have next to him.
Yeah, exactly. And
I just wanted to do a little bit of research and give you.
I appreciate you did that. Thank you.
And let's talk about this too. This is why Vita Vea is so valuable. The absence of Vita hurt this pass rush. Because if you look at it, that was another reason why they had their way, which is why I was hoping that Bowles load the box and be more aggressive, because Vita gives you that his presence alone, you have to double block him. If you look at it, when we didn't get the consistent rush we get with Vita. Canty was trying his best. Logan Hall didn't even play, I think. So a lot of things didn't go their way, which is why I wanted the Bucs to get aggressive in their secondary. Bowles, and here's another thing. When Bowles decides to get aggressive, he gets trigger happy. Though, another play that broke the Bucs, when we scored the touchdown.
Oh, here we go. Here's the blitz. I get you. I get you, but it's going to happen.
With Stephon Diggs, that should never happen. You should know that that's going to be his guy. I'm sitting here like, why would you blitz?
Because someone else is supposed to pick him up. It's not his guy, because if you're blitzing, somebody else knows they've got to pick him up. The thing is, it was wasn't it like a yard or two to go?
Yeah,
it was like
it's going to be quick.
It was 3 to 4 yards. I remember.
Okay, fair enough.
That's why.
I disagree with the call, but you make calls. We can't turn around and say, oh, you can't be. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to be aggressive, and then you can't be aggressive, and then you've got to be aggressive.
Right.
And you can't be aggressive, because you're turning the tap on and
off. They're
off.
not aggressive enough, and now we're complaining they were aggressive.
Well,
I understand the situation. I wouldn't have called a blitz there. I would have gone with coverage. The one thing the announcers did talk about is how Josh Allen loves to be blitzed. Apparently makes him play better. I don't fucking know if that's a genuinely true thing. I don't watch enough Buffalo football to give a shit.
It is.
If truth be told. Maybe when they get to maybe if they get the playoffs, I'll watch their games. Is generally when I tend to watch them. Or there's no Buccaneers game on to watch.
Yeah.
But that's what they said. So why would you go to something that's going to help him and not blanket the field a bit more? But I'm not the defensive coordinator.
You should be.
No joke.
You should be. Seriously, it's again.
Buccaneers, hear me out. I'm coming for an internship. Give me the internship for the summer.
Apparently all you need to do is go on Indeed.
Hey, look, I'm just saying. I'll go. Look.
As long as my mortgage is covered and my children don't go hungry, I'm coming.
It's a game.
Coming.
And I get what you guys are saying, but JT, please, if you guys agree with this, it's a game of common sense sometimes. Great coaches look at it. It's fucking Stephon Diggs. You don't want Stephon Diggs to get any type of momentum running. You want to stop him at all costs. If someone else beat us, I wouldn't have gotten mad, because that's the way the game goes. But
he beats
Stephon
a lot
Diggs,
of
that was
people.
too easy. It's too easy. It's too simple.
AJ, if it was common sense, then everyone would do it. That's why I prefer the term applied sense.
Okay, applied sense. And you know what? Good skills, because a good-minded coach would have with the right mindset would have said, you know what? I don't think, Stephon Diggs is Josh Allen's boo thing. So why would I want his boo thing to just run free?
But he does this to a lot of teams. You're acting like Todd Bowles is like, wow, he played this wrong. Well, apparently everybody does, because Stephon Diggs burns a lot of people and a lot of teams and makes a lot of people look bad. I mean, he's really good. So
he's good, but you have to play the players. One thing I used to do when I used to coach certain players that I knew that were really good, the opposing team, I look at your character and how you react when things don't go your way. There was a guy that on the other team before, he was real good too, a good receiver, but he had an ego problem. When shit didn't go his way, he gets flustered. So you know what I used to tell the corner? Keep pushing him. Make sure when he gets the ball, when he doesn't, if he drops it or if you tackle him, just say you trash. He hates that word. Trash.
Sounds like what the Saints have done with Mike Evans for years.
Hey, call it what you want, but this is what I'm saying. And eventually he would crack. He runs the route the wrong way, because as you said, Slick, when you play selfish ball and you're not playing for your team, it bites you. So at that point, that is Stephon. As you said, Stephon burns people.
I don't think he's that much of a diva, to be honest. He didn't come across it in this game anyway, to be honest.
Well, that's because Carlton was clinking him. If you look at it, anytime Carlton gave him the clinks, like the man press coverage, he wasn't doing anything. Stephon made his stuff in them zone coverages. That's what I'm saying. And let's go back to the offensive line part. JT, did you have any, like, overall, what would you have given this grade to the line in the run in the pass?
I'd say a pretty good grade in the run compared to how they have been this year. I think Stinney filled in and did a nice job. I think when they weren't committing penalties, Rachaad White was doing pretty well. I mean, backed up in his own 5, they were looking for the run. It was predictable. There wasn't a lot of space there, but when they were moving the ball, Rachaad White was a part of it, running up the middle. He was the leading receiver in the game, so they finally are starting to use him more as a pass catcher. Rachaad White should be the number 3 option on this team in terms of pass catchers.
Yes.
But
I have a
honestly,
question.
I thought it was fine.
JT, Coach, AJ, I've got 2 questions and I got to run. Sorry to
No, go for it.
Gotta go. Number 1, whose Fruit Loops did oh crap, I just lost his name.
Tucker?
Running back.
Sean Tucker.
Yes. Whose Fruit Loops did he piss in? What happened? Okay, I mean, because I think 6 people ran the ball, and he's not even on the stat sheet, right? I mean, he's nowhere around. Was he even active?
He was healthy scratch.
It was not, no.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Freaking Keyshawn Vaughn again.
Off for more than Keyshawn Vaughn at this point, in my opinion. But I don't know.
I don't get it. And my second thing, and I'll get out of here. Was that pass interference? Should you call that pass interference? What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, it is pass interference by the letter of the law and letter of the rules, and it should have been called, but it doesn't, and that happens in a game, so you just got to move on.
Right, which I agree with. I'm going to throw one thing out as a possibility and maybe what they could do in the future. If the defenders are at least looking up towards the ball and reaching for the ball and then contact and all that stuff is made, that's fine, instead of just tackle him.
Amen.
That incidental contact happens, and you can easily see that in a replay. If someone's looking to go for the ball or trying to get to the ball, you can see intent. If there's any grabbing and someone's looking, they're playing a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking back at the ball and there's all kinds of collisions and stuff happening and all that,
you can let it slide.
Right. No, that was a perfect one, because you want to know the one that I tell people you're not looking at. Don't look at Evans and Godwin. Look at Otten.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Because and I know you guys saw it. They didn't even
sandwich.
They sandwiched him. That should have been an automatic, because he couldn't even get. You're hindering him from even trying to catch the ball. Yeah. So that's why that should have been an automatic call. People were too busy looking at Godwin and Evans. I said, I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, they literally tackled Otten. So you're right. In that incident, I feel like this. The rule should be, if you are hindering from the guy to extend his hands in the air, or he can't make a move for the ball, that's interference automatically. I don't care if that wasn't a collision. That's technically a hold. You're holding him.
Defense holding.
That's holding. So that was, but again, that's in Buffalo. They're not going to call that.
They're not going to call it anywhere. They wouldn't have called that in Tampa. They're not calling it anywhere.
That's true.
Not on the last play of the game. They're just not doing it. But I just feel like that would be a great way. It would make the end of games more fun too. If you took that out, it would make the games better. So
I agree.
I mean, I think it'd be fun if the NFL did that.
You are absolutely right.
JT, what are you? You've been quiet on this subject.
No, I agree. I laughed at that play because it reminded me of watching like prime Shaquille O'Neal, the way they had 3 Bills players just boxing out Mike Evans. It was a wall, and they're just backing him up.
Yeah, they just
they were all over Cade Otton. Both guys were tackling him.
Yeah, I mean they weren't even covering it. They were just draped and pulling him to the ground. I mean there was no coverage. It wasn't coverage.
It looked like the scene in Space Jam when Jordan at the end was trying to dunk and the Monstars grabbed him and literally tried to keep him. That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did to Cade. I'll let JT guys. I was sitting there like, oh my God, they literally sandwiched Otten.
Right.
And imagine if Godwin literally just looks up 1 extra second and the ball would have literally just dropped in his hand. I don't think you guys would have been seeing me today because I would have lost my voice. I probably would have sounded like an opera singer. I would have been Adele after last night.
Yeah. How long have you guys been Bucs fans?
Since birth, basically.
How long ago was that for you?
That was
Mid-late 90s
Reagan's second term.
Okay.
In the 80s.
Okay.
I think everyone knows I'm the youngest Bucks fan here because I didn't know
Right.
what football was until about 2014.
Right. Okay. JT?
Mid-late 90s. Whenever they switched to the skull logo, I never knew the
Okay.
creamsicles.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't remember ever. I'm since year one. Okay. I don't ever remember a successful Hail Mary. I'm bringing that up for a reason, because as these times happen, it's gonna happen one of these days. And I mean, that's what makes
Aaron
it fun.
Rodgers is the king.
I'm about to say Aaron Rodgers does.
Aaron Rodgers.
No,
would do it
I'm
regularly
saying the
to
Bucs.
Yeah.
For the
Aaron
Bucs.
Rodgers
It's
did
never
it
happened for the
regularly to the
Bucs.
Detroit
Oh
Lions.
yeah. No, it's happened for other people.
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying
sure.
for the Bucs, it's never happened.
Yeah.
Rarer than a
So
kick
it's
return.
coming. Yeah, it's coming at one point. Some freak play. I mean, it's gonna happen. Do you know Tom Brady has never in his career had a Hail Mary pass caught?
I can
Yeah,
see
he
that.
did. He said while he was with us, he would like to get one time. I was like, "We'll stop fucking falling down in the games, there, bro. We need
Exactly.
I can see that. Yeah.
That's
All his wide
probably a
receivers
good
are always
thing.
like-
You don't need to try and win a game on a fucking Hail Mary.
Well, that's what I said. I said the reason Tom Brady hasn't had any Hail Marys is he's always leading. So
Yeah.
that was
Matt and his
kind
wide
of-
receivers are all like 5'8", like Wes
Yeah.
Welker. and-
yeah.
Like he's the
With
king
2
of
bricks in their
elevating
pocket.
little
Look,
slot
man, he
white
got
guys.
people paid. He won
Yeah.
Deion Branch was his number one receiver, and he helped Deion get money when he went to Seattle and robbed them, and then came back.
Yeah. What happens with Evans every once in a while? He just has a game where he's just gone. He's just like
I think, you know what irritates me about Mike Evans, and I love Mike Evans to pieces, but he does this thing that really, I don't know if it's a coaching thing or it's him. If something doesn't go his way, he just walks off the field.
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's fucking third down, bro. We need you in.
Yeah, and instead
Got
of
off the ball.
now instead of sulking like he used to do, now he just walks off and shows no emotion at all. Nothing. Just walks off like
I tell you what, if a guy as good as he is,
If he gets reps out, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
And there's a rotation of reps, I'm fine with it. But the way it comes across on the TV screen is like, oh, it didn't go my way. I'm stepping out of play.
he's
Well,
always had this. He's always had. I used
Well,
to play
look
the
at
Cry
after
Baby
last-
sound effect.
can you blame him after last night's debacle and fuckery? This man did not get targeted but like 4 to 5 times. Canales, what
I
the
agree.
hell were you thinking? That is disrespectful to a man.
But they double covered him. He weren't getting nothing.
That's incorrect.
No, they were. He
That's
was
incorrect.
open. He was getting separation. They put him in the wrong. My thing is, Evans should have been in the slot. He should have been moved around a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They didn't, but that's what I'm saying. If you're Evans, think about how many different people he has been through. He's sick of this shit. He's sick of people having to get their shit together all the time.
Mike
Mike
Evans was targeted 6 times. Chris Godwin's the only person targeted. Rashad White 7, Chris Godwin 7. Mike
Yeah,
Evans 6.
Rashad White only because they threw him the ball every time he got past the line of scrimmage. Because that's all
I'm
they had
fine
for a
with that.
while.
I'm fine with that. Shh,
No,
don't
no,
complain
cool.
about that. Shh.
No, that's smart.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Canales, this is actually clever. I like it.
No, it was that was awesome.
But this is what we're saying with Canales. You have to utilize your players. They were not locking him up. There was a play that in the first series, Baker. Now this was Baker. He missed it real bad because Evans had him beat. Oh, and let's get
Is
back
that what
to
happened? Is that now? This is I fully tell you. I don't know. I'm not an expert at this, and they didn't show it. They didn't show really much of a replay or anything. What happened on that play?
Baker threw it too far out of the way where
He didn't get tied up with the line or anything like that.
No, he threw it to where I think he thought Evans was gonna be there already, but it was awful because Baker didn't have to. JT said it earlier. Baker had happy feet the entire game because that drive, he didn't even have to throw it like that. He could have just a simple lob. That's the separation that Evans had. Yeah. And let's get to that other catch that he got that got called back. Cody Mock did not hold. The refs were making some real bad calls. Yeah, the dude fell. Mock did his job.
Yeah.
There was a play that they called on Gedeke that was not a false start. Literally, all Gedeke did was turn his head and then just went
Yep.
So and then and when Rashad had that big run play, they're picking on Palmer. I think they don't like the fact that Palmer is good at dominating the run. That was not a hold. So sometimes I don't understand, but let's get back to Evans anyway. Evans, when you don't get 6 times is disrespectful. 10 times, move him around. He's a dominant figure, and this is why even if he doesn't get the catches, that still shows that the defense has to keep.
But he did this with Brady.
Honest. You have to watch
he did
him.
this with Brady too. This happened every once in a while. All of a sudden, there was a game where he was hardly like he basically was nowhere. It usually happened against New Orleans. I mean, he'd have games where he just didn't exist.
Yeah, but if you had him on your fantasy, he scored you nothing.
No, I mean, like there were, like I'm talking. He's got what 5-6 games with 0 catches, something like that. Where I mean, it's like all of a sudden he's nowhere, and I saw from the beginning, and it's what Slick is mentioning. JT, do you know what Slick was mentioning? Like, did you understand what he's talking about? Where he just walks up. It seems like every once in a while he just is pouty.
He does have that demeanor, and I think it's just
getting his head straight ready for the next play. Possibly.
Because,
I mean, I don't know. I just it's something it's clicked on. I've noticed a couple of times, and then it got me really thinking. I'm like, is he checking out mentally, or is he getting himself like psyched back up, or is this a coaching thing? Like that, because I guessed with the Brady area when I saw it, it was just like Tom Brady likes to have lots of different people catch the ball. It keeps the defense guessing. So I could really, and at one point we were so loaded at wide receiver, you may just have a fucking breather, bro. You got your catch. Go and have a breather, because he'd do it if he caught the ball or not. Now, if he's not catching the ball, it's almost like he looks up, glares, or like kind of shrugs his shoulders, shakes his head, and then just walks off. And it's like, oh, okay.
You know what? He's always done that, but this year he's not adding the limp when he does it. All right, guys.
Grandmother should donate him some hamstrings.
Yes, he's got my grandma's hamstrings. So, all right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Seriously, I was supposed to go like 15 minutes ago, but I love this show so much. I like your show. I'm hanging on your show more than I'm on mine. Thanks, guys.
No
See
problem.
you, Rick. Have a good one, brother.
Have a good night. Yep.
That's Bucs Live right here, guys. Check them out. All right, my man. But yes, no, I think with Mike Evans, he's flustered, and he should be, because you want this guy to help you. That is what he's here for. And when you don't do that, you see that Josh and them were spreading the love around to everybody, and they were targeting people. That's what you want to do with your stars. I'll tell you what, quarterback that if Evans had under him, he probably would have damn near 2,000 yards twice a season. Aaron Rodgers. You know what Aaron Rodgers used to do with Devontae? Force feed it. You know why? What was good for Devontae was good for Rodgers. You have to, and coordinators have to find a way to get your stars like that. Canales doesn't do that. Sometimes they just make him this one-dimensional kind of guy, and he's not. You can use him in other ways. Stop always keeping him to the outside. Move him around.
He played the slot before. He probably could play a nasty slot quite well too.
I think he would be devastating in that slot. But this is what we're saying. Here's the imagination. So, guys, let me ask you this. How are you going to stop this if you're a coordinator? And you have to be realistic. I'm going to put Evans in the slot.
I'll get my pen.
I'm going to put Palmer on the outside. Now, mind you, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have
what's your split from the offensive line for your thing? So I'm drawing this up.
I'm going to run a spread. I'm going to run a spread.
Okay, but how far do you want your slot guy to be from the end man line of scrimmage? About halfway?
Halfway. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Evans in that slot, but instead he's going to do a go route, and then depending and even lovely. And you're playing cushion coverage. Yes. So we go ahead. Y'all, your defense is playing cushion coverage. I'm going to make Evans do a go route. So the corner and the safety are going to have to take him. And then Palmer is going to do a slant. A
5 yard slant?
Yeah, a hard slant. And then on the other side, I have Godwin running a shallow crossing route. And then on the outside, I have Tompkins with his speed doing a go route. And mind you, you are in cushion coverage. I just said you're in cushion coverage. And
what's your back doing? And where's your back lined up? Is this a gun or a pistol?
This is going to be a gun. This is going to be a gun, shotgun. And Rachaad White will be blocking on this series, not running out. And mind you, you're playing.
I put Godwin in the wrong place to begin with because I was expecting you to put him on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute, and I'll show you how I do this. Cushion coverage, right?
Cushion coverage. And mind you, your corner runs like a 4-4-7. Because you have to take all these into consideration. And
you don't need to make this a segment where you just give me a play and I'll draw up my stuff.
No, but the reason why and JT, you can appreciate this. You have to go by what the defense, what the players are capable of doing. They can have the perfect scheme, but if that linebacker is too slow, or if that corner cannot necessarily keep up, and your line, like you said, Gedeke didn't have an awful game. He had a rough night, but Gedeke was still doing very well. Like you said, the passing game was not to blame. It was the scheme. So while we're doing this, what do you wish that they would have done more on offense in running wise, JT?
It's the same thing I've been calling for the last 3-4 weeks. More touches to the wide receivers. That carry for Chris Godwin got 10, 15 yards in that second drive, and I want more of that. Give it to Palmer, hand it off to him, have it off to Raheem Jarrett. He's young, but he's fast. Do those little yo-yo motions, motion him in, motion him out, just flip it to him right away. Same with Rachaad White. Get him out, flip it to him right away. That's an extension of the run game. The more diverse ways this team can run the ball, the more it opens up the middle and gives you another avenue to run the ball.
I like that, and I like how you just said you said a lot of things with Jarrett because of his speed, not just because it's the right call to make. It's because of what they can do with it, and that's what Canales has got to understand with this offense. You got some playmakers out here. You got some gems in here. Utilize it. They don't have to be perfect. Again, for Palmer, don't try to throw it to him where he has to be a possession guy. Give it to him in stride. It's the same for Jared. Your possession clutch catchers, realistically, guys, are going to be Evans and Godwin. That's just how it is. That's why they are one of the best of the best. Wait a minute, it sounds like Slick he has something.
Right. So let me just talk it out. Let me talk it out with you. So your corner is double covering with the free safety on Mike.
Yes, and Mike is going a straight go route.
Straight go route. And so you got the free safety over the top corner underneath. So he's double covered. Number 10 will meet Levante David to kill the slant. He'll play underneath the window of the slant. Devin White will take the higher release of the slant. So he's just going to play the middle field. And because you've got a guy coming across, my JTS is going to bump him and then pass rush. Bump and rush, I call it. And Shaq Barrett's going to bump and rush on Mike Evans.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you said that.
But that's the perfect scenario with what I know what's coming. You know, it's not always the case. You know what I'm saying?
And mind you said Levante. Now, what if you had to use the Bills defense? I
don't know their names.
That's why I said that.
I would run this regardless. Like if doesn't matter if this was what I had put. But obviously, I can't guarantee that's what my players would run because I formulated a special defense just to stop that play, right? If I ran my normal stuff,
yeah.
So let me have a look. I probably wouldn't have the bumps so much. I probably would have just put them as coverage and rushed with 3.
Right, and you know what?
Maybe maybe sent the one of my middle inside backers as a blitzer.
And this is why you said this also. You don't know the option. We don't know who I would throw to first. I'm going to tell you what. My first option is going to be, because I have that cushion, if the corner is 5 to 6 yards off of Palmer,
I would say you'll go in 13, 10, and 14.
I'd go 10, 13, 14. And this is why I say that, because if that corner is going to be off of Palmer has way too much speed for that corner.
You might have let the slant overdevelop then, and it's been taken out.
Well, what if it's a shallow slant? What if it's like
like a zero slant? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think that works better. I think a zero slant works better in that case.
That's what I mean. Like, it would be something short and quick. Like, hey, that's what the Bucs need to start implementing into their offense. You said this before last year about Byron. Everything was strictly just run, and just try to catch it. You have to implement those type of plays when it's there, because that's what they do to the Bucs defense. If you look at it, when we play zone or cushion coverage, they just throw those short plays and it kills us. As you said, sometimes you don't want your corner that's 5'10", 148 or 168 pounds going up against a receiver that's 6'2", 210, and he's running at full steam. You're going to get him killed. So this is why I said that play right there, I guarantee you, Slick, that play is working 7 out of 10 times against most teams in this league, because if Palmer does a zero slant route, I mean, that's all day. That's the first option. And you're right, though. Evans would be my guy just in case, especially. So I'm sorry, JT's sitting here like, man, he's watching a real live action of Madden. I'm just saying, I got so many things with the crossing route. I got another one. If we go into the I formation, I'm gonna have Otten run a simple shallow cross up the middle, and then instead of Evans, I'm gonna have Evans on the opposite side, and I'm gonna have Evans on the right side, and I'm gonna have Palmer on the other side. Evans is going to do a simple 5-yard slant, and this will be a play action, and it'll be a bootleg to the left side, and a go route for Palmer, and you toss it. You have to switch it up. If Godwin or any of them is in there, it's going to look obvious. You have to make it where the defense goes, this guy is in here, I don't know what to do. Hey, JT, what do you got to think about this? Two running backs in shotgun, and they can throw it to either side. I think Edmonds and White would be a great asset in the passing game.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more creative ways to do it, the better. Edmonds can catch. White's a great pass catcher. And I think they tried to do that a little bit in this game, not with running backs, but give the same look on both sides with receivers. Basically the same thing. Flip it out to the receiver real quick. I think they tried to do that on one play with Palmer, and it got blown up pretty quick. But on the other side, you had Mike Evans blocking for Rashad White, and Rashad White could have taken it 10, 15 yards. It's just one guy to beat.
Mm-hmm. It's just with this offense, you have the weapons. You just got to utilize it. But let's just look at it for the future. Right now, if the Bucs want to be contenders, if you had to say so, you're the GM right now, JT. Who do you think you would want to look to get a certain position that you think needs to be filled, and we can try to get them for cheap, and we can get away with giving like a certain late round pickup for them?
So I've been kicking this idea around a little bit, thinking about possible additions. The one name that I keep coming back to is Garrett Bradbury, the center for the Vikings. He's a good run blocker. He's a perfect fit in this zone offense, I think, more than Robert Hainsey. He's a good pass blocker. He's what the Bucs need at center as opposed to what they have.
Yes.
Vikings are in the dumps. He's a guy I'd take a swing at.
Nice. I like that. How about you, GM Slick?
Safety position. If I'm not going to go down the route of giving our boy his shot, then I'm going to go for LaMarcus Joyner.
I like that. I like both of y'all. That's actually clever. I was thinking of a safety. I was like, Ryan Neal, sit his ass down.
I think that's the best available safety off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm first of all, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If we cut Neal, would that hurt our salary cap?
I don't think he signed for a lot, but it'd probably be dead money.
Shit. So he would just have to sit this out, but he'd be riding that bench real comfortable. He would be shunned. Hey guys, what are we doing? Nothing. Like you. Now sit down. Just sit back and collect this check.
Yeah, I don't think you got to worry about it. He's paid less than $1 million.
Exactly. So get his ass out of there. We need another safety. Now, if in a perfect world and this guy was willing to play ball and the Bucs, I guarantee you this. I would if Derrick Henry came to this team, whew, good God. Can you imagine? They would have to fear the Bucs running game just because he would be an upgrade. And I know he got a lot of tread on the tires and some miles, but my God, JT, can you imagine that? Now the play action would work even more. The play action still would work, but with him in there, he could be a dual threat back. Toss it to him sometimes. And then Rachaad White would flourish being a second string guy again. You know what I think? I think it's too big for him to be a number one running back. If Rachaad could be the number 2 man, I think he would be just fine. That's just me. That's my thing about it. But right now, though, I do think that. How do you think, JT, the Bucs going into this? Do you think the Glazers and Light are going to start questioning Bowles and Canales on their play, where they're saying, "Hey, what is it that's going on? Because we can't continue to go like this. We play the Titans in week 10. You guys got to get it together." Do you think that they're having those conversations now?
I don't think they're having them yet. And I think this is the low in the season because we're on a 3-game losing streak, and 2 of those games were against 2 of the best teams in the NFL with the Lions and the Bills. Bills, I think, are flawed on defense, same with the Lions, but all the teams are flawed. I mean, there's not a perfect team out there.
True.
So I think losses to the Bills and the Lions, those are understandable. Those are playoff teams. The Falcons one really hurt. That one got away from us. I didn't feel like we were going to lose that game until that last pass to Kyle Pitts and they were setting up for the field goal. Like, not a single moment in that game I felt like we were going to lose until we did. So that's the one that really hurts, but division games go like that sometimes. So you got the next 5 games, 4 of them are very, very winnable. You got Tennessee, you got Carolina coming up, Texans. These are the games you really have to win. And if it goes sideways in these next 5, if you don't win 3 or 4 of these, I think that's when you feel the heat. That's when you have that conversation of who the next coach is going to be.
Okay. How about you, Slit?
I think there's some patience that's got to pay off. I don't think they can really afford to keep losing. Like JT said, they did go against 2 really powerful teams. Like I said, that's why the Falcons loss was such a bitter pill to swallow. Was literally because if you win that game, it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it didn't matter as much if you lost this game because you still have bragging rights on to your rivals. You are back to you're at 500, and you're going and going. Okay, we can't beat statistically great teams, but we can beat teams that are beneath us or at or close to our level. So let's just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully this offense, because that's your mindset, isn't it? Our offense isn't clicking yet. Our offense isn't ready yet. And we're still winning games, so it's okay. We keep rolling. Now you're going to have to push the envelope. You're going to have to push it a bit more because you're starting to starve for wins. Because once you lose that streak rails to fall, now you're on a true losing streak, and you've got to get out of a rut real quick. Mm-hmm. And that's when the questions will go: can these guys really coach? Are they setting up this team for success? And I know a lot of people turn around and go, maybe we should just demote Coach Bowles to defensive coordinator. As far as I can tell, it's never actually happened in the history of the NFL because you'd have to change his contract, which means you'd have to fire him and rehire him. You can't just say we're going to pay you less and you're going to do this job instead. I think you actually physically have to fire him and rehire him. Imagine he's probably not going to take the rehire. Just saying. So anyone coming up with those crazy ideas of where we're going to demote him to defensive coordinator and bring him a new head coach, it's not going to happen. We're probably going to have to move from him. And by moving from him, you're probably going to have an entire turnover of staff. So, and this is the thing I would say. It's easy to say we should fire this coach. It's easy to say, unless you've got me a solution, shut the fuck up. If you ain't got a body ready to go and you can't tell me who your next NFL head coach is going to be or who you want as your head coach, leave the fire talk alone. until you've got someone in your mind, you can turn around and go, we should get rid of Coach Bowles for this person, or we should get rid of Dave Canales for this target. Then I'm with you. I could listen to you. Till then, you're just saying words like fire a person because you like hearing Donald Trump say the word fire a lot. It sounds sexy and aggressive. You're fired.
You're fired. Yes, no. Of course, you can't be in it. This is you have to have a reflection and not reacting type of mindset, because this still is a business. You don't want to sink the ship without finding someone else to be able to revive it, because now, again, it's just going to stay dormant. No, I think what people are, if I am the Glazers, though, I would be having contingency plans. I would be having these things, because at the same time, this still is a business, and I want the best out of my team, because like you said, what if Levante has hope? A guy like Levante, who is obviously still playing at a high caliber level, if the Bucs finish under 8 games, he will retire or go somewhere else. But
yes,
what if the Bucs get their shit together and they do it right, and the Bucs can win 10 or 11 games and they get in the playoffs, win 1 game, but now he sees, okay.
I think that's what you're looking at. I think that's the best case scenario. That's what you want, right? And that's what we want as fans. We want them to get back on track, beat the teams that are beneath them, and then you want when we go to town and we go to Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go and put a number on them, because when it comes down to when they check the division, we didn't win by a point. No, we won by 10. We won by 20, whatever, yeah. But I think we need to see some aggression from a play calling stance, because I'm starting to see this team as passive as the head coach. They seem disinterested. I don't know if that's because they're cool, calm, and collected, because I'm not in the building. I can't. Maybe failing on fourth down is they shrug their shoulders because they're like, there's a whole game to play. And maybe they're just ice cold. And that's in some ways that's good. Or is it that they're just disinterested? I don't know, because I can't tell. And I'm a little bit worried that we've got a stoic, unemotional head coach married with a stoic, unemotional offensive coordinator, and you've got 2 of the same, which means there's no real fire in the bellies of anybody on that sideline pushing these guys to go, guys, we could go out there and get a fucking touchdown now. Come on, for fuck's sake. We're better than this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if those conversations are happening, because obviously they don't stare at our sideline the whole time, but it feels like there's no urgency. It feels like, what's it they said in the broadcast? The Buccaneers are asleep.
Yes, they are. You know what would wake them up, guys? I'd be like, hey, how about we switch your salaries to the everyday American worker? You want to bullshit like this? I told you on Forbes.com in America, Slick and JT, from ages 20 to 24, 38,000. That's your annual average. 25. I want them guys to understand. 25 to 34.
I mean, less than the national average.
It's like, this is what the people who are paying you, basically the fans. This is where some of their money is going to your ass, and you're getting all this money. You bet, like you said, there better be some fire. There better be this. Because as you said, sometimes this is why fans sometimes question people, your character. Well, I guess you wouldn't care, because on Tuesday you're getting a $400,000 check. If you got what I got in the mail, or what I get in my direct deposit, like some people out there getting like $1,200 on there, I bet you they asked to play better than. All jokes aside, we want to see, like you said, urgency. We didn't see that. Even under the Brady regime, those guys look pumped. They were fired up. They were ready. The offense is not like that. We need that. This is why we missed the Arians era. Even in the play call, it shows. How many times, guys, did we see them really go down the field? 2 or 3 times? We need more of that. Attack the downfield. That's another reason why sometimes our short passes don't work, because they know we're not going for the deep ball. They're like, they basically saying
that's what happens when you load the box, right? You got loads of shallow defenders, which means you can play a cover 2, or you can play a cover 2, and you're going to cover a lot more. You're going to cover a lot more of the width. So you do need to kind of go deeper. And it basically, by loading the box, you are essentially stopping any short pass, any quick passing game, any short passing game, and any run. You're slowing the run game down too. How do you do that? You need to take a deep shot. You need to have a lightning game, screens, a couple of little different things, but you need to have what's called the very, very, very quick game. So it's like boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
but that shit gets you on track. You get you guys a couple of reps. They may have only got 3 yards. What they did with Rashad White later in the game, liked it. I thought that was the best thing that Dave Canales did all night. I was really impressed with that. Now, I will say this about the offense. If that offense played against Atlanta, we would have won.
yes, I can see that. Agreed. That it's if they played like
I just
that.
wish
Yes,
they had that fire and that. I wouldn't say fire because they weren't fiery, but if they played that level,
they'd have won. They
would have won. And I know I would have said it would have probably been a 23 to whatever it was game.
The 16. Yeah, I agree with you. And now that we're talking about this, JT, what is your confidence percentage going into the Tennessee Titans game, though?
I still feel pretty confident with this team. We know the offense is developing, we'll call it. It's flawed. It's going to be flawed all year with Baker Mayfield. The last 2 weeks, I really do feel like I've seen improvement from Canales, especially early on. I think when he gets off script a little bit, that's when he gets a little bit over his head, trying to figure it out on the fly. Doesn't always look good. But the more experience he gets with that, the better he'll be. And the same with Cody Mock. The more experience he gets at playing guard at the NFL level, the better he'll get. And I think he's getting better and better each week. And it's minor improvements, but that's just part of the transition, the growing pains we knew that this team was going to have.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, the biggest problem we thought we had would be the fact that we didn't have a left tackle. Let's be honest, yeah. My biggest concern was we did not draft a tackle. When everyone's like, "Oh, we got Cody Mock," I'm like, "But that's not left tackle."
Right.
Left tackle was like the big need for the Buccaneers was left tackle, quarterback. Some people argued running back, right? And that's still a very valid argument. And guys in the trenches, on the defensive side of the football. And we draft a guard, and I'm like, I like him. He seems fun. Great, but he's not a left tackle. And
right.
luckily, the Lord giveth Luke Gecke, who, other than the penalties, it's been super solid. He hasn't been bullied. He's gone against some really premier pass rushers and held his own as a left tackle, as a right tackle in this league. So, really pleased with that, with what we've got there. Now we've got a different set of problems. Our running back wasn't what we were hoping because of the game in Germany. Set kind of everyone going, "Oh, we got a stud here."
Yeah, that damn that scepter went to his head,
and he beat Jesus Christ. I was going to say LeGarrette Blount. There's another guy with a French last name.
You talking about, yes.
Fournette,
yes. And I apologize. We go against the Texans. I'd rather we play the Titans. The Texans are a team that we can't sleep on anymore because they are going to be strong. So it's a lot. And thank you, Christopher Cole, for that. So, yes, this is why I do think that there has to be somebody on that team has got to have like this intervention where we go, guys, what are we doing wrong on the offensive side? Like you said, JC, they just got to get more things going. And I know that some people might disagree, but Slick and JC, I think there should be at least 5 to 6 plays where Baker doesn't have to think so much. These are your first 2 options. If they're not there, run the ball. Like just tuck it and go. I do think there are certain plays. Now, Slick, this is why I think those would be your cushion, your safe plays, because I think he gets in a lot of trouble when he has to like be that, I got to see the entire field, and then the defense. Get 5 to 6 plays where it's like, this is who you're going to. These are your first 2 options. I honestly think if you do that, that's where he can get in the rhythm, and then where he will use his high IQ because he is a smart guy. Then he can go, oh, yeah, so they're biting on these. So now I can really scan the field. I do think you're right, JT. He with Canales, he's not giving him enough plays where he can get in a rhythm where he's thinking too much. You don't want him to think like this. This isn't Brady. Brady he knew everything, so shit, he could do that. I think 5, 6 plays. He only has the first 2 options, and he takes off. I think this offense could be better by doing that. I think that's what Canales needs to implement.
I just wanted to add something here, just to rub a little bit of salt in our own wounds. You do realize with Jameis Winston, we had multiple games scoring over 20 points. And I'm talking like 9 games, 10 games, 12 games.
Yes.
And we've got the athletes are still here. And I would say the offensive line is better than it was. We didn't have a run game. We still didn't have a run game back then. But of course, we had the interceptions. I genuinely think this offense could still survive. I'm not saying that Jameis Winston era or what have you, but taking some risks. It's built for a bit of risk it, no biscuit. It's built for the occasion. Don't worry if you throw a pick. We got you back.
Right. We got a defense that'll take over. Exactly. I
think you can afford to be more aggressive. I wonder if, because obviously the head coach has the final say in pretty much everything. I wonder, and I obviously don't know, I wonder if the play calling's conservative because that's what Coach Bowles wants.
I hope that that's not the case.
Because I would say take some risks because you have a defense that can back you up. Especially when you're playing against teams like the Atlanta Falcons. That's when you should be putting the pedal to the metal. Go, let's see what we got here, guys. This team isn't as good as us at that point. Right?
I agree.
That's when you let it go. And a national television game, you're down, let them fly. Canales, let them fly. Because we're going to lose. If we don't do something, we're going to lose this game anyway.
Yeah, and we're going to lose.
Let them fucking fly. Yep. Enjoy the game. Let's see what happens. And if it starts working and it starts clicking, you can go, we can take that into the next game. But we can't because we play conservative and we're playing not to lose football games. However, we're now at a point where we've lost 3. So this scheme system where we're coaching not to lose isn't working.
Not working.
We're losing.
Not working, guys. Not working. And we got to stop this because then you can lose the morale of the locker. And then that's when people, they tune you out and shut you off. So I do think that this team can do something. I haven't given up on them completely, but I'm just going to be honest. My confidence, I'll say, in Bowles and Canales is not high at this moment. I'm still up in the air with Bowles. I'm looking at potential coaches, but for right now, just get your shit together and see what you can do on that, on that note. So we'll see. To me, I haven't shut down yet. I give them 4 more games. These 4 games are critical because you got the Texans, you got the Titans, then you got the 49ers, and then you have the Colts. If you can get me, if they can go 2-2 out of that, I would be okay. 2-2, that's all I need. We'd be 5-6, but at least we'd still have a chance because the Panthers, I see us beating. The Falcons, I can see us beating if we get it together. The Packers, the only other team after that, Jaguars maybe, but we'll see how they are. But this still could be a 10-win team, if they do it right. So,
I think the next block of games they could easily push for 3 wins, and then the final slate of games they could, if they win those 2, then they're in, right?
Exactly. They win the division. I think so. I agree. So these next 4 games to me is where I'm going to go, okay, get me.
What are you going to do?
If they can get 2-2, good. If they can do 3-1, great. I don't expect 4-0. I don't see us beating the 49ers. That's just not going to happen. The 49ers are going to be pissed.
Not unless we're aggressive.
Yeah, and then we have to pass until the running game is. You can be certain that this line is up to the task. You're gonna have to pass more. Short, you can use the pass to set up the run. Defenses do not magically stop shit. Don't let people fool you. Well, if you run too much, they can pin their ears back. Yes, that is true. But they also, when they pin their ears back, defenses get winded. And that's when things really break down. Or that's when you can use a run play to set them up because now they can't load the box. Now they have to go, oh shit, we gotta respect it. So I do think that's what can happen. And my final question to you two, and I'll roll out on this, JT. What if you had to say right now? How do you? And we're just assuming. What do you think on offense this team is like? As the team in the locker room feeling right now? Do you think Do you think this loss is giving them more urgent matters, or do you think that they might just go back into the old Bucs bad ways?
I think it's probably closer to the old bad ways than not. Because we've heard it from Dave Canales. You know, he was 2 weeks ago, he was amazed after the Lions game and how focused everyone was. And then they came out and laid an egg against the Falcons. And so we've kind of heard it all at this point. You know, it kind of feels like, I know from my perspective, here we go again. So they need a spark. They need to make some adjustments. And this is the time to do it. This is that mini bye going into, the middle stretch of games, the back half of your schedule. So the coaching staff really needs to respond and, talk to his leaders, talk to Mike Evans. We want the offense to run through you. Chris Godwin, we want their offense to run through you. Rashad White, we want to feature you as a receiver. Tristan Wirfs, we want to run behind you, use your power. Take his leaders and say, you are going to take us where we're going to go. We're going to live and die with you. And that's how this team has to operate at this point.
Amen. What about you, Slick?
I think there's too many newer faces on this team to just completely slip back to the old ways. There's only really Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then I'm starting to get a loss at names. So it's not like it's a cultural thing. It's whether they slip back into it in the sense of like they're just not playing well and they end up becoming it. There are players. What needs to happen is players that were a part of those, so like the Levante Davids of the world, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Will Golston, they need to sit down and go, guys, we've been in the situations where this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in the situation where right now, if we don't get a grip of this team and we don't rally and we don't push this and we don't we don't push ourselves and we don't give everything we got, you guys are looking at probably realistically a 7-win team maximum. That's the floor.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
But you have the ability. We have the defense that's capable of stopping, and we have an offense that has the potency to be a lethal offense. It just hasn't figured out a way to do it yet. We just saw with a similar offensive staff, they were able to get wins. And I genuinely believe this roster is more talented than it was with James Winston ever on it. From top to fucking bottom, it is a more talented roster. It is capable of doing so much more. We just need to figure out how. And Dave Canales needs to figure out what it is, because his bread and butter has been figured out and it's been stopped.
Amen.
Now, guaranteed, I don't know how he would do if he had a better run game, because that's one of the handcuffed to a bad run game is never going to help you. Now you really have to think of different things.
Yeah.
The thing I was a little frustrated with, there was a lovely passing concept that they did where Chris Godwin shoots straight upfield, and I believe it was Trey Palmer catches a corner route, and it was beautiful. Never went back to it again. Never to be heard of again. That's one of the best plays, smart plays.
Yeah.
They're glowing about it on national TV, and you don't use it again. You go, no, it's for another day. Like, how are we not using plays that have success and reusing them? I'm going to keep using this until you can stop it. And then when you stop it, then you're going to force me to go back into my bag of tricks. I'm not saying use it every single play, because we know that's not. Same with you in crossing routes. Use a crossing route. You know you can't live an entire offense on crossing routes. You know that's never going to work. But we have the offensive passing blocking scheme that's able to withstand the blocks long enough to have a shallow cross, a medium cross going the other way, and then a deeper cross going the other way. Essentially a mesh, so a crossing mesh.
I got you.
You can play with that, and then you can have a dump off running back. You can play with that, because at some point they're all going to be right in front of you. And if you want, you can boot out to the side that's got the two going across.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I got you.
That can be done.
Yep. And I know, JT, you're going to have to get ready to run. But look, thank you for talking tonight. We had to get this off our chest. This was the Bucs vent math, not the aftermath. We was venting today. But, JT, tell everybody where they can find you and what you got planned.
Yeah, I'm going to have some articles coming up. I'm going to try and do a mock draft this weekend for the Bucs, talk about who they can trade for, talk about how they can turn this season around. Is it time to panic or not? Then start previewing for the Texans game next week. Podcast, we bumped it to tomorrow, so you can catch the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast tomorrow, typically Friday nights at 9:30. We're going to go tomorrow at 9:30 this week. And you can catch my sports gambling podcast, Around the Book, every Wednesday night at 9:30.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for your time, JT. We appreciate you. And as always, my man, go Bucs and take care of yourself.
Thanks. I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
Anytime, brother.
And Slick, and you're right. I'm glad you said what you said about they have to come together. The guys have got to come out there, the older guys, the vets. And I said this again earlier. I know I keep going to it about the salaries and average, but I want them to understand it because you know this. James Canada has said this. This is still a business and this is a job. These guys are not guaranteed. Levante has been. If I was Levante right now, I'd tell these guys, look here, guys. I'm one of the very few people that were blessed to play as long as I have. So, and if I don't know people's financial situation, but it looks like Levante has taken care of himself. But for the young guys, I would tell them this isn't guaranteed to you, man. You keep playing like shit. Slick has said it best. These new, if let's say if Bucs get fired, the new regime will come in.
And they might like different players.
They will go, okay, this guy was trash. And now, and let's say you get kicked, you don't make another team. I meant what I said, Slick. Just think, if they're in their early 20s, 2024, you might have to go find a job where the salary that you were making at first was hundreds of thousands. Now you might have to rely on $38,000. And especially these young kids over here nowadays, they don't save their money. They don't save their money, Slick. They do the dumbest shit. And then for the guys 25 to 34, when you're in your prime years, you don't get another deal. Now you only have to rely on $52,000 to make yourself. I just want them to understand it is a business and it's a privilege to be in this league to make the money you make. And if you want to continue thriving, you got to play. So Levante, you're right. He should tell these guys, we're not guaranteed. No, if we have a shitty season, some of you might be unemployed. Don't you want to stay in this league? Don't you want to be paid? Don't you want to have success? So that's where I want these guys to understand, because you're right. I hope that these young guys are not thinking that. And I don't think it, for the most part, I think they're just in a situation of what can we do? So you're right on that one. And I'll let you close it out. But guys, thank you again for just checking us out on the Aftermath on 102.9 The Game, Broad Street South Radio. Slick, always the man right here, the British guy who's always flying on standby, and me. Just catch me on my own things on my YouTube channel. It's about Bucking Time. Go to my Instagram page, AJ Turnup, check out the link. And then, of course, you get these nice outfits right here. And this is what I have to do. Respect the process. I'm hoping that this process.
I like that. That look good on me in a tank in the gym.
Hey, I got you. And look, as you guys can see, we know the game because I like how Slick was putting all these plays together to neutralize my scheme. That was real crafty. We got to start doing that.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a set. We can do. We got to definitely try and do a segment. I've got a little digital board. So what I'll do, I think we should have. We'll give it a name and we'll put a little segment in, and we'll call it like AJ's Turnip and Slick something.
Yes, and then we should do it like this. You should. I should use the Bucs offense, and whatever defensive or team we go against, you use their defense.
I like it. There you go.
I love it. All right, my man. And as always, everybody, go Bucs.
Go Bucs, brother. See you soon.
See you soon, my man.
Okay, guys, that is the end of the show. We're all venting. Frustration has taken through. The Buccaneers have lost 3 in a row, and it fucking sucks. It makes you rely on booze. Back to the old boozy Bucs. Win or lose, we get the drinks in, right? Win or lose, we booze. Right, so we got a slate of games. Enjoy a plethora of college football. Basketball's back. Football is, and then we got the slate of NFL games straight after on a Sunday, and then of course we got the build up to the next game, which will be the Texans, which is away. So we're on the road, sleeping in a different hotel, and we got to get the win. That's all that matters. Win, 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 win. Dave Canales, I hope you can figure it out. I really like your personality. But the Buccaneers will get rid of you before they get rid of Coach Bowles, because his defense is still playing at a high level, right? That might save him another year. But people's patience is getting thin. I know Rome wasn't built in a day. Some of us more patient than others. Go get it. Find out what works. You've already seen a few things work, but remember, you have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Use them, because we were told that Baker Mayfield is a turnover machine. For the most part, Baker, you've not been the turnover machine that we all thought you were. You've been more than that, and I actually do like your moxie, your attitude. But you gotta build that rapport with your wide receivers. All right, you gotta build it, because there's gonna come a time where that deep ball needs to land. It needs to be in that bucket. It needs to be caught. And wide receivers, you need to get ready to catch everything that guy's going to throw at you, because there's too many balls hitting the dirt. You ain't going to win games that way. Defense, offensive line, need to stop the stupid penalties. You're going to kill drives. We're not a team that's built for the long drives. We're barely converting on third down at the moment. So putting us back 5 yards, putting us back 10 yards on a regular basis, especially when we're in key positions or when we definitely need to get a score in, is not helping. Need to work on that. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Without further ado, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3, and I'll catch you guys soon. Go Bucs!